7 delicious recipes by Angel Nightingale. Number 1. Chocolate lasagna, no-bake dessert. Oreo crust using a food processor or a Ziploc bag with rolling pin. Crush Oreos with their cream, then combine with the melted butter and press into a 9 inches by 13 inches baking dish. Refrigerate while you prepare the cheesecake layer. Cheesecake layer in a bowl. Beat together the cream cheese with vanilla and powdered sugar. Fold in the Cool Whip. Carefully spread over the Oreo crust. Refrigerate as you prepare the chocolate layer. Chocolate pudding layer. Beat the cold milk with instant chocolate pudding until it thickens. Carefully spread over the cheesecake layer. Refrigerate until it sets. Cool Whip layer. Spread the Cool Whip over the chocolate layer and top with reserved crushed Oreos or your favorite topping. Refrigerate for at least 2 hours or overnight and enjoy. Tips for the best chocolate lasagna. Spread evenly. It is easier to spread the layers if you add cream and pudding throughout the dish and not in one area. Use original Oreos and not the double cream. Chill before serving. Don't take out the dish too early when serving. We recommend taking it hour right before serving. To cut clean pieces, run your knife under warm water and when slicing, continually wipe the knife clean. Number 2. No-bake Oreo truffles. If you're looking for easy desserts to make, these Oreo truffles require no baking. Only need 3 ingredients and are a great treat for family and friends. You can get creative with the chocolate dips and toppings, and kids have fun making these too. All in only 30 minutes. Ingredients: 14 ounces. Oreo cookie, 1 standard package. 8 ounces. Cream cheese block, softened. 16 ounces. Semi-sweet chocolate chips. Add sprinkles. Optional. Add white chocolate chips, optional. Directions: 1. Crush up Oreos using a food processor or blender. If you don't have a food processor or blender, place Oreos into a Ziploc bag and use a rolling pin or something heavy to crush it up. 2. Add cream cheese to the crushed Oreos and mix well using a blend. Grind the Oreos thoroughly. Usually when you're using the food processor, you want to be careful not to overprocess the ingredients in the bowl. But for this recipe, you really want to grind everything up until the filling has really spread around nicely, and the mixture turns shiny and clumps on the side of the food processor. I've got pictures below. Use a cookie scoop to portion in order to ensure that the Oreo truffles are all the same size. Use a cookie scoop to portion out the dough. It's much more consistent than grabbing clumps with your hand. Consider the coatings for the outside shell. You can use virtually any melting chocolate you'd like, whether it's something dark, white chocolate, or ruby chocolate. But consider who you're making this for, and what kind of sweetness they'd like. Since the interior is very sweet with the Oreo filling, if you're someone who likes less sweet desserts, you'll want to coat the exterior with a darker, bittersweet chocolate. But if you're making this for someone who has a sweet tooth, milk chocolate and melted white chocolate coatings may be a better choice. To make the Oreo truffles, throw about 25 Oreo cookies into a food processor and chop them up well until you get pretty fine Oreo crumbs. I use regular Oreos here and have also made this successfully with golden Oreos. You can swap in basically any Oreo variety here that has a normal amount of frosting in the middle. It's fun to use seasonal pumpkin spice Oreos in the fall, or chocolate cream Oreos for a darker taste. Add a half block of softened, room temperature cream cheese and process until a big clump forms in the side of the food processor. That means it's properly mixed and will hold together well. We can start shaping the truffles. Now use a 1.5 T medium cookie scoop, affiliate, to portion out scoops of the Oreo mixture. Using a cookie scoop will ensure that every single truffle is the same size. I think 1-inch balls are about perfect for serving size, but you may also use a 1 T small cookie scoop if that's what you have. Roll each scoop in between the palms of your hands to shape them into small balls. Place them on a parchment paper-lined sheet tray, then refrigerate the truffles for 15 minutes. This helps them firm up a little bit before dipping. When you're ready to coat the truffles, melt the chocolate of your choice, and then dip the truffles one by one into the melted chocolate. Heat chocolate chips in 30-second intervals in the microwave, stirring each time until melted. You may also use the double boiler method by placing the chocolate in a heat-proof bowl over a pan of simmering water. You can dip the Oreo truffles into white, ruby, milk, or dark chocolate, but I recommend using real chocolate here. Real white chocolate chips will always trump white chocolate candy melts. Also make sure to let the excess chocolate drip before setting on a parchment or wax paper-lined baking sheet. Let the excess drip over the tines of the fork, or gently scrape the bottom of the Oreo ball against the side of the bowl. Topping suggestions. You can do all sorts of different drizzles and toppings here. Here are my favorite ideas. Sprinkles. These are easy to shake on and look very pretty. Use holiday sprinkles for Christmas time. Extra bits of crushed cookies. I recommend grinding the chocolate cookies into fine crumbs for the best look. Crushed candy canes. Smash into small pieces with a rolling pin, then sprinkle on top. Make sure to let the chocolate harden before enjoying, either at room temperature or by putting the truffles in the fridge to hasten the process. It should only take about 10 to 15 minutes before the chocolate coating sets. How to serve them. These Oreo truffles are enjoyable both cold from the fridge and at room temperature. It's just a different experience each way. I do not recommend keeping these at room temperature for more than 2 hours, because the cream cheese needs to be refrigerated. If the Oreo truffles have been chilled in the fridge and you prefer them warmer, just pull them out of the fridge and leave on the counter for 30 to 60 minutes before eating. If you'd like to serve a spread of bite-sized desserts alongside these Oreo truffles, serve them with peanut butter bonbon or peanut butter balls, pecan praline candy, chocolate bark, and peanut brittle. These are also great for holiday parties, cookie exchanges, and other special occasions out of the house, since they travel very well. It's the perfect bite-sized treat that's easy but visually stunning with all the different chocolate coatings and toppings. Number 3. Sex in a Pan. Sex in a Pan has a crazy name for a dessert, but it's one of the best desserts you'll ever have. It's mostly a delicious pudding dessert with a crunchy pecan crust. The name itself is hilarious for a dessert, and hundreds of you have commented on here telling me all the other names that this pudding dessert goes by. I think it's called Sex in a Pan because it's 6 layers, and from 6 layers in a pan it got to sex in a pan. A long time ago, before I was married, my friend came over on a weekend and made this dessert for me. I had no idea what it was, but she promised me I was going to love it, so we made it. We did not come up with the name. That is the name that was known to her, and her mom had been making it for her for as long as she could remember. I think this dessert has really been around for decades, but it's still popular, not because of its name, but because it really is incredible. Pecans. You will need some chopped pecans for the crust. You could also use walnuts if you don't have any pecans on hand. Sugar. A bit of white granulated sugar is used to sweeten the crust. Butter. The butter needs to be melted. Always use unsalted butter in cooking to control the amount of added salt unless a recipe states otherwise. Flour. I just use basic all-purpose flour to make the crust. Cream cheese. I love using Philadelphia cream cheese. It needs to be at room temperature for this recipe. Powdered sugar, also known as confectioner's sugar or icing sugar. You need to sift out the lumps to ensure the cream cheese layer is super smooth. Cool Whipped. Any brand of frozen whipped topping or whipped cream will work. Vanilla pudding. I use instant vanilla pudding mix. You will need a couple of boxes. Milk. I always use cold whole milk to make the pudding. Chocolate pudding. You will also need a box or 2 of your favorite instant chocolate pudding mix. Milk. Cold milk is needed to make the pudding. As mentioned, I always use whole milk. Cool Whipped, your favorite brand of whipped topping or whipped cream, will do just fine. Shaved chocolate used to garnish the whipped topping. You could also use a few mini chocolate chips if you like. Preheat the oven and prep the pan. First, preheat your oven temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 177 degrees Celsius, so that it is hot once the crust is made. Next, spray a 9 by 13 inch baking dish with non-stick cooking spray or grease it with oil. To start, the crust needs to be made. Add the chopped pecans, sugar, melted butter, and flour to the bowl of a stand mixer. Then mix everything together until it's fully combined. Then transfer the crust mixture to the prepared baking dish and press it firmly into the bottom of the pan. You can use a glass to help flatten the mixture out evenly. Then place the crust into the preheated oven to bake for about 20 minutes. Allow the crust to fully cool in the pan when it is done. While the crust is baking, make the vanilla and chocolate puddings according to the package instructions. However, I only used 2 cups of milk instead of 3 so that my puddings came out firmer. So basically, I only used 2/3 of the amount of milk that the directions called for. I did this because I find that thicker pudding helps the dessert to hold its shape better. Now let's whip together the cream cheese layer. Add the cream cheese, powdered sugar, and 1 cup of the Cool Whip to your stand mixer. Then whip everything together until it's light and fluffy. You can also use a hand mixer if you prefer. With all the layers made, you can build the sex in a pan. Yet, the crust must be completely cool before you begin. Then spread the cream cheese mixture over the crust evenly, followed by the vanilla pudding and then the chocolate pudding. Now, top the dessert with 1 final layer of the remaining Cool Whip and a sprinkle of some shaved chocolate for garnish. Then put the sex in a pan in the fridge to set for at least a few hours before serving. Expert tips. Sift the powdered sugar. No one wants to bite into a lump of powdered sugar. Sifting helps to ensure that the cream cheese layer is velvety smooth. Use less milk. Reduce the amount of milk used to make the pudding to make it a bit thicker. This will help the dessert maintain its shape when cut. Chill the dessert. You must chill the sex in a pan for at least a couple of hours to allow it time to set. If you don't, it will taste amazing, but it will be a sloppy mess. Storage. Leftover sex in a pan will keep for up to 4 days in the fridge or for up to 3 months in an airtight container in the freezer. Just let it thaw out in the fridge before serving, which should take about 6 to 8 hours. I just had to share this wonderful dessert with you again, because every single time I make it, people fall in love with it, and so many of them tell me it's the best dessert they've ever had. Trust me, that's the best compliment you can get for such a simple dessert. Have you guys had this before? Isn't it to die for? Number 4. No-bake peanut butter bars. If you love the combination of chocolate and peanut butter, these no-bake chocolate-topped peanut butter bars are for you. Easy to make and ready to eat in less than 30 minutes. Ingredients you will need. Ingredients: 1 cup unsalted butter melted, 2 cups animal cracker crumbs or vanilla wafers, graham crackers, etc. 2 cups powdered sugar, 1½ cups creamy peanut butter. Topping: 1/4 cup peanut butter, 10 ounces semi-sweet chocolate chopped. Things you'll need: food processor, 13 by 9 baking pan. Instructions: in a mixer or a food processor, combine the first 4 ingredients until smooth. Spread into a 13 by 9 baking pan. For the topping, melt the chocolate and peanut butter together in the microwave for 1 minute. Stir. If not completely melted, you can heat in 10-second intervals until smooth. Spread over the top of the peanut butter layer. Chill dessert in the refrigerator for about an hour, or in the freezer for 15 minutes. Cut into bars and serve. Expert tips and FAQs. You can use a hand mixer, or even a blender, if you don't have a food processor. We like the food processor because it makes for the smoothest mixture. This recipe uses semi-sweet chocolate for the topping. If you wanted a bit sweeter and closer to the flavor of a Reese's peanut butter cup, simply substitute milk chocolate for the semi-sweet. I prefer to use baking chocolate, but you can certainly use chocolate chips instead. Serving: 1 bar calories, 329 calories carbohydrates, 29 g protein, 7 g fat, 22 g saturated fat, 10 g cholesterol, 21 mg sodium, 184 mg potassium, 191 mg fiber, 2 g sugar, 24 g vitamin A, 240 IU calcium, 18 mg iron, 1.2 mg in a mixer or a food processor. Combine the first 4 ingredients until smooth. Spread into a 13 by 9 baking pan. For the topping, melt the chocolate and peanut butter together in the microwave for 1 minute. Stir. If not completely melted, you can heat in 10-second intervals until smooth. Spread over the top of the peanut butter layer. Chill dessert in the refrigerator for about an hour, or in the freezer for 15 minutes. Cut into bars and serve. Number 5. Lemon bars. Being a Californian means you get really spoiled when it comes to the abundance of amazing fruits offered here year-round. When I'm hankering for something citrus, why lemon bars? Crust: 1 1/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup powdered sugar, plus more to sprinkle on the finished bars. Pinch of salt. 8 tablespoons unsalted butter, still cool and cut into 8 pieces. Filling: 7 large egg yolks, 2 large eggs, 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons sugar, 2/3 cup Maya lemon juice from about 4 to 5 medium lemons. Finely grated zest from the lemons. 1/2 teaspoon salt. 4 tablespoons unsalted butter, cut into 4 pieces. 3 tablespoons heavy cream. For the crust, cover a 9-inch square cake pan with 2 sheets of heavy-duty aluminum foil, perpendicular to each other. Spray with non-stick cooking spray and set aside. Put the flour, powdered sugar, and salt in a food processor and process briefly, about 2 seconds. Add the butter pieces and process to blend, 8 to 10 seconds. Then process until the mixture is pale yellow and resembles coarse meal, about 3 1-second pulses. Sprinkle the mixture into the prepared cake pan and press firmly with your fingers into an even layer over the entire pan bottom. Refrigerate for 30 minutes. Heat the oven to 350 degrees. Bake the crust until golden brown, about 25 minutes. For the filling, in a medium saucepan, whisk together the egg yolks and whole eggs until combined. Add the sugar, Maya lemon juice, zest and salt until well combined, about 30 seconds. Add the butter pieces and cook over medium-low heat, stirring constantly with a wooden spoon until the curd thickens to a thin sauce-like consistency, about 170 degrees on an instant read thermometer, about 6 minutes. Immediately pour the curd through a fine mesh steel strainer set over a medium bowl. Stir in the heavy cream and then pour the curd into the warm crust. Bake until the filling is shiny and opaque and the center 3 inches jiggles slightly when shaken, about 10 minutes. Cool on a wire rack to room temperature, about 45 minutes. Remove the bars from the pan and transfer to a cutting board. Cut into 2-inch squares, wiping the knife blade clean between cuts as necessary. Sift powdered sugar over the bars if you'd like. Number 6. Brown butter rum cannoli. Ingredients: 1 ton cannoli cookies, 20 wonton sheets, 4 tablespoon butter, melted, brown butter rum mascarpone filling, 16-ounce mascarpone cheese, 6 tablespoons butter, browned, 2 tablespoons gold rum, 3.5 to 4.5 cups confectioner sugar, 6 ounces chocolate, melted, 4 ounces almonds, crushed. Instructions: Preparation. Heat oven to 376 degrees Fahrenheit. To make wonton cannoli cookie, use a 3.5-inch round cutter and stamp out a circle from each wonton sheet. Using a pastry brush, cover each side of wonton round with butter. Wrap wonton around cannoli form and place on a bake sheet with seam side up. Bake at 375 degrees for about 5 to 7 minutes, or until golden brown. Start checking for doneness at 5 minutes. Remove bake sheet from oven and then remove cannoli cookies from forms. Place cookies on a rack to cool. To make mascarpone filling, place butter in a small pan and heat until butter is brown and nutty in aroma. Remove from heat and strain. Set aside to cool, but still liquid. Add rum to cooled butter and stir to combine. Place mascarpone and confectioner sugar in a bowl of an electric mixer fitted with a paddle attachment. Beat until smooth. Add in butter mixture and beat until combined. Transfer filling to a pastry bag fitted with preferred tip. Assembly. Dip ends of cannoli cookie into chocolate. Dip chocolate-covered ends into crushed nuts. Set aside until chocolate hardens and sets. Pipe filling into both ends of cookies. Drizzle with remaining chocolate and dust with confectioner sugar. A few notes. The cannoli cookies go from golden to burnt quickly, so make a few extras to test and find the right bake time before you fill a bake sheet full of cannoli cookies. Make sure to check for the cookies at the 5-minute mark and then every 30 seconds after to establish the exact bake time for your oven. Cannoli cookies can made 3 days in advance and kept in an airtight container at room temperature. To adjust the filling to fit your textured preference, add more confectioner sugar to stiffen and add 1 tablespoon of heavy cream at a time to loosen. The filling can be made 5 days in advance and kept in an airtight container and stored in the refrigerator. Skip the rum for a non-boozy version. Number 7. Mint white chocolate mousse cake. Rep time 35 minutes. Cook time 8 minutes. 3 hours chill time 3 hours. Total time 3 hours 43 minutes. 1 cup almond flour, 3/4 cup confectioner's sugar sifted, 1/2 cup all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup dark chocolate cocoa powder unsweet, 4 eggs, 1 egg yolk, 4 egg whites, 1/4 cup superfine sugar, 2 tablespoons melted butter. Make the white chocolate mint mousse. 1/4 ounce package of powdered gelatin, about 2 teaspoons. 2 tablespoons cold water. 3 egg yolks. 1/2 cup sugar. 1/2 cup milk hot, put in the microwave for 30+ seconds. 8 ounces high quality white chocolate chopped. I used Ghirardelli white chips. 1/2 to 1 teaspoon mint extract, add to taste. Few drops of green food coloring. 1.5 cups whipping cream. Assembly. 1/2 cup white chocolate. 1 chocolate transfer sheet, your choice of pattern. 1 cup prepared whipped cream. Chocolate cigarettes curls or shavings. Instructions. Jacquard. Preheat the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Line an 11.5 x 17-inch jelly roll pan with parchment paper. Using a stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment, beat the almond flour, confectioner's sugar, all-purpose flour, whole eggs, and egg yolk until combined, stopping to scrape down the sides of the bowl as necessary. In a separate bowl, whip the egg whites with an electric hand mixer. When the egg whites are foamy, gradually add the superfine sugar until a white, shiny meringue forms. With a large rubber spatula, gently fold the meringue into the almond flour mixture. Add the melted butter and gently fold again, being careful not to deflate the batter. Bake for 5 to 8 minutes, or until the cake springs back when pressed in the center. Remove from the oven and let cool slightly. Invert the cake onto a sheet of parchment and carefully peel away the parchment paper. Trim the edges of the cake with a serrated knife. Set aside. Have ready a 7-inch springform pan. Trim edges and cut one long piece of jacquard big enough to fit around the inside of the 7-inch springform pan. You may have to piece together with a small portion of cake to line the entire circumference of the pan. Using the bottom of your pan as a guide, cut a circle of cake from the jacquard and press it into the bottom of the pan evenly. You may need to trim the circle slightly for it to fit perfectly. Set jacquard-lined pan aside. Mousse. Place 2 tablespoons water in a medium saucepan and sprinkle gelatin over water. Let stand for 1 minute. Whisk in egg yolks and sugar, mix well. Stir in hot milk. Cook over medium heat, whisking constantly. Cook until thickened considerably 7 to 10 minutes. When done, it should be thick enough to coat the back of a spoon. Stir in melted chocolate and blend with a whisk until chocolate has melted and even in color, no streaks. Let cool. When mixture has cooled somewhat, stir in mint extract and green food coloring. Whip cream until stiff peaks form. Gently fold whipped cream into the cooled chocolate mint mixture until well blended. Assembly. Pour as much of the mousse as possible into the jacquard-lined pan. Smooth the top. You will have a little mousse and jacquard cake left over. I suggest making a single serving trifle. Place mousse cake into the freezer for 2 to 3 hours, or until firm. Remove from freezer and remove cake from springform pan. Measure side of jacquard cake and cut the chocolate transfer sheet to size. Melt white chocolate chips in the microwave at 30-second intervals until smooth. Let chocolate cool slightly, then spread onto the chocolate transfer sheet with an offset spatula in 1 or 2 even strokes. Allow chocolate to harden, then peel away the acetate, revealing the patterned chocolate. Pipe whipped cream in a florets in the middle of the cake. Decorate with chocolate cigarettes, curls or shavings. Serve frozen or allow cake to thaw in the refrigerator and serve cold. Keep uneaten portion wrapped in plastic wrap and store in the refrigerator or freezer. Hope you enjoy these delicious dessert recipes. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Have a beautiful and blessed day.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Have a beautiful day to each and everyone.